So you've taken up pastel painting and you love the vibrancy, all those beautiful colors. But there are a couple of problems. Number one, you soon realize you need more colors. No pastel painter ever said they had enough colors. You've got to add those extra color notes. Unfortunately, each of those pastel sticks costs a small fortune, and you add it all up, it's a bit of an eye-watering experience. The second problem is cheap pastels are just awful. The gap between cheap and super expensive seems really wide. Is there anything that has a good compromise between value for money and excellent quality? Well, up to this point, I've struggled to find that, but now I have a set of pastels that I'm going to show you today that might just be the answer to solve this nagging problem of not having enough pastels and negotiating the problem with price and quality. Let's have a closer look. Now, I recently came across a manufacturer of pastels called Lightwish, and they've got a box set of 72 pastel colors, roughly divided between landscape colors and cooler atmospheric colors. This is what the box looks like. A nice big box of bright and vibrant pastels. 72 handmade soft pastels. 72 seems to be the sweet spot. Now, 72 pastels can go a long way, but what's that going to do to your bank balance? That's something to really think about. And of course, are your paintings going to look good? Are you going to be fighting those pastels, or are they going to help you create beautiful paintings? So I'm going to cover that in this lesson together with a demonstration, and we'll see how these pastels work out. This is the reference I'm going to be using, and I'm painting on Clairefontaine pastel matte paper, which is not a very high tooth paper, but it's still got a nice bite to it, which makes painting with pastels a real pleasure. So as I start sketching out a composition with these beautiful colors, and don't they look pretty all set out like that? I mean, who can resist playing with colors like this? So if you have a look at the Lightwish set, they claim to have vivid and high pigmented colors, and I think you can certainly see that they have very strong color. Now, I'm not going to suggest that they'll have the same pigment quality as some of the high-end brands on the market, but consider that you're paying about $45 for this set of 72 as compared to about $370 for another set on the high-end scale of the market. That is quite a hefty investment. So for $45, you may think, well, you're not really going to get good quality pastels, but this, I think, is going to be dispelled in this video because I'm pretty impressed with the color intensity and the usability of these pastels so far. Now I'm going to be testing how they layer up color and can they be blended and smoothed a bit, because getting gradients is very important for some pastel painters. For me, it's more about the layering of the colors, because I like to put down individual marks and get a more impressionist look to the pastel painting. The way they layer is extremely important. And you don't want your pastels to start crumbling and breaking or creating all sorts of pastel dust and making it a very tiresome process. And so far, you can see there is none of that. There are no telltale crumbling bits of pastel, which is something I really don't like. And even some of the top brands, traditional brands, seem to crumble so easily when you add a little bit of pressure. So there is none of that, and you can see I am layering this sort of mauve color on top of the violet with no problem at all. Of course, I've got to remind myself to try to paint in a sequence, preferably light over dark, and sometimes I forget that with pastels because I'm just picking up pretty colors that catch my eye, and I need to be a little careful about that. It's strange when painting with pastels and you're more used to painting with oil paints, for instance. Painting wet into wet is my favorite approach. But of course, that's not possible with pastels. You have to sort of deconstruct the process a bit, and you're painting individual colors and not mixing them on a palette and getting your mixes that way. So it's a bit of optical mixing, also leaving some gaps here or there so you can bring in another color and layer it in and put it down. At the moment, I'm putting down this sort of light salmon color, which is really beautiful color, but I know I'm already putting the light down a little too soon, and I have more darks to add. But anyway, don't judge me on the process here too much. Pastel painting is not my first choice of medium. Nevertheless, I enjoy it very much. It's a beautiful experience, a nice change from painting with brushes. And yes, also, as I said, it's sort of a deconstructed process. So it makes you think a little bit differently, and that is refreshing. So if you've never tried pastels before or just starting to dabble with it, keep on, even if it is something you do now and then. It's very rewarding. Also great for making studies of a subject and experimenting with a subject before you dive into it with paints, perhaps. So there's a few ways that I like to look at pastel painting, and I've been painting with pastels for many years and decided once upon a time to start building up a set of pastels. And I found that even buying pastels from time to time, I was still missing colors, and it made getting a large set of pastels very attractive. You just want to get it over with so you don't have to keep wondering whether you're missing a tone of blue in your set. But as I've mentioned already, those large sets of colors are pretty darn expensive. And so it made testing this set really very important. I think very important for a lot of hobby painters, as well as if you are considering going into part-time professional painting, for instance, with pastels. A set like this will be a good investment. Now there's an even bigger set, 120 colors as well, if you want to look at that. But I think the 72 is very nice indeed, a perfect starter set, and just enough colors. I'm not missing any colors, actually. I've looked at the sky colors, the shadow colors, all the shadow family colors I need are there, the earth tones and the primary colors, pretty much everything I need. So if there's a color I'm missing, I'll let you know, but so far I find everything quite easy. So I've had a look at this background, and because I'm painting on such a small surface, I think I'm just going to try to simplify it a lot more as I go along. just look at this beautiful blue. This is really bringing the shadow to life, and it's something I enjoy so much with these pastels, and just blend those edges a little as well. Very easy to do. I do prefer a bit more of a deconstructed look to a pastel painting, but as with all mediums like this, it's very easy to go too far, and you over-render it and make it just a little too detailed or over-rendered. So I'll probably do that again and have to learn from my mistakes. This warm white I'm putting down is adding a lovely note of energy, and I like the way the darker color of the paper is still showing through here or there. It's creating a very energetic surface. A nice contrast to the still life, I think. So I'll start adding a little more of this cool red, and certainly does bring the painting to life. And the yellows as well. Lovely set of yellow earthy colors. I must definitely try a landscape as well. I thought a still life like this would be a good way to get a quick painting and test out the colors. And you can see I'm layering this sort of ochre over these reds and having no trouble. It's all going down very well. The quality of the paper is certainly a factor, but this pastel matte paper, as I said, is not very grainy. It's got a little bit of tooth in it, but it's not like it's chewing up the pastel. And there's a lot of acceptance of layering. The 2 or 3 layers of pastel is working very well. There's always a limit, of course, and at some point you may overdo the layers and find that you're not really getting purchase anymore, and your colors are just sort of slipping over each other. So I'm trying to be careful about that. Trying to keep things loose, like I said, very impressionist look to it. And I just want to add, if you're interested in grabbing a set of these colors, you can find a link in my description to this video and get yourself 10% off as well, and add them to your set, or as a nice starter set, or even as a gift for somebody. I think that would be very nice too. So far, so good. I'm certainly throwing all sorts of colors into this painting, but enjoying it tremendously. I have to say, a little break from oil painting is a little holiday for me. This little touch of purple to accentuate the shadow actually is just what I need right now, giving a little bit of strength with a stronger value contrast in that shadow. Some highlights, I think. And if you have a look on the Lightwish website, that's lightwish.com, you'll find all sorts of other art supplies as well. And maybe we can try out some oil pastels one day and see how those work out. But by and large, I paint mostly with soft pastels when I reach for the pastels. So I had to try out these first. So I'm pretty much getting to a conclusion with this painting, and so far so good. Quite pleased with the results and how it's working out. And let me know as well, if you try these out, whether you've had good results with them. So I'm going to sign that off and leave it at that. I'm very pleased, actually. Well, there you have it. I must say I was pleasantly surprised. The pastels just went along really smoothly. The colors are vibrant. The layering was also excellent. I didn't find the pastels crumbling away and shedding dust everywhere and becoming a real challenge to work with. It really was a pleasure to use. Now you can find a link in the description to these pastels, and if you're interested, get yourself a box. It's not going to ruin the bank balance, and I think you'll get a lot of fun out of using them. And the thing is, because they're good value for money as well, it makes you work with a bit of confidence. You're not always terrified you're going to drop the pastel, or is it going to break, or is it going to put all of that money you invested in a single pastel color, are you going to lose that? Well, if you enjoyed the painting demonstration and are interested in trying out these pastels, let me know in the comments what you think. And also don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because there are more videos coming up and more product reviews as well. It's always useful to see what's out on the market there, and you might just be able to grab yourself something that's going to make your painting pleasure increase. Okay, until the next video, happy painting and cheers for now.